Hello everyone, this is Thomas Stout 25 with you, and I'll be going over just some basic stuff. Alright, just like basic stuff here. Well, this is like just basic stuff. Alright. The beginning phase. Alright, the beginning phase is made up of 3 parts or steps. You have the untap step, which let's say these lands, as I break in and out, come on, damn thing. Let's say these 2 lands are tapped. Well, if we turn them here, we untap them during our untap phase. And we can only do this during our untap phase. So the 2 other phases of the beginning phase are Upkeep Phase, which let's say, okay, like this card right here, it's got Fading 2, and I'll read it to you. It says, this creature comes into play with 2 fade counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a fade counter from it. If you can't, sacrifice it. So during our upkeep, we would remove a fade from it, and it would only have 1 left, and when it has no more, it would be gone. We can only do that during the upkeep step, and you pretty much have to do it. So now let's say these 2 lands right here are tapped, and I forget to untap them, and I move right on to the upkeep step. If you are in a tournament, you are screwed. You are not untapping those lands. You can only untap lands and creatures. Creatures untap during the untap phase. Everything that is tapped untaps. If you fail to do that in a tournament, you're screwed. You're shit out of luck. Now, if you're playing with a buddy, yeah, they might let you untap it. If it was me playing against one of my buddies and he's known the game, no, you're screwed. But so we have the untap phase, the upkeep phase, and now the draw phase. Now, if I go first and I have 7 cards, I don't draw because I'm past the draw phase. Because I'm drawing now. Now, let's say, okay, I'm done. It's my opponent's turn. He goes, he does everything. It's my turn again. I draw 1 card after I untap and pay my upkeep and all that good stuff. So, and then after the draw phase, the beginning phase is completely over with. You know, and then you go on to the first main phase where all the actions happen. With the this is where all the nitty gritty stuff happens. And let's say I'm on turn 2. Okay, I got a green, I got a forest, and I got a plane out. And it's my turn, it's my first main phase. I can go ahead and tap 1, tap that one, and put this creature into play. Because it only costs... Damn it. As I break up. I'm sorry again, I broke up again. It only costs green and white. So you tap the 2, you throw it into play. So it's in play, and you can, you know, if that's the only creature you have out in play, your turn's done. It's the other guy's turn. Your next turn, okay, this thing's in play. You untapped, you paid anything with your upkeep. You draw a card, and let's say you put down another land. And let's say we tap all 3 of these cards, and let's say we have this card. It's gray, so we can play any color with it. So we tap these 3 cards, and we put this into the battlefield. And now, since this right here is a creature, if I want to attack, we have a combat phase, which every creature comes into play tapped, unless otherwise said on the card. What we do is we would tap it, and we would have an attack phase. And in this game, you do not attack the creatures, you attack the players. Now, let's get this. You see how this is 2-2? the left is attack, the right is the defense. So I'm attacking the player for 2. Let's say he has this creature that's a 3/3. Let's say he has that on his battlefield. If I want to, when I attack with my 2/2, I can block with this 3/3, and the 2/2 would die because I do 2 damage. I do 2 damage to. Where's it at? Damn it! Come on, camera. I do 2 damage to it, so it would be a 3/1, and I did 3 damage to this 2/2. So the 2/2 dies, so it goes in the graveyard, and the 3/3 lives, but right now it's a 3/1 because this creature in the graveyard did 2 damage to it. So let's say I have a spell in my hand. Let's say I have this spell right here in my hand. If I want to, and I have the mana, I can cast this spell and hit this card, because you can use spells on creatures or players, and this card right here says do 3 damage to target creature or player. I would target the creature,
which would kill it because it has 1 life left. So that right there is the now let's say I don't block with this creature, and my 2 damage would go over to the opponent, the other player, and he would lose 2 life if he doesn't block or kill my creature with a spell. That is basically, and there's different. I kind of like, there's different steps of the combat phase. There's a beginning of the combat phase where happens as I break up. Nothing happens. The only thing that can happen during the beginning of combat phase is if I use a spell, an instant. If I use an instant or an ability on a card. It's the only thing I can do at the beginning of combat. The declare attacker is when I declare this guy right here as I'm attacking the opponent. That's the declare attack phase. I'm declaring him as attacker. Then my opponent, if he wants to, can declare the blocker. This one's a blocker. Combat damage is dealt. I do 2 damage to this one. This one does 3 damage to this one. The combat damage is declared. In the combat phase, since this card did 3 damage to this card is dead in the graveyard. This card lives. That's the end of the combat phase, and that's how the phases go. Then after that, you have a second main phase. During your main phases, you can play spells. You can drop a land into play. So if I didn't drop a land into play on the first main phase, I can do it on the second main phase. I can tap it. I can bring in more creatures. I can play a spell. I just have a second main phase. Then we have the ending phase, which it has 2 steps. It has the end step and the cleanup step. During the end step, abilities on cards that require a tap, requiring something to tap. Here I go searching for cards. Okay, hell, we'll use this card. It doesn't matter. Get it up here. You see how it says, if I can get it in the damn picture, how it says tap. It says tap it, so if this is in play, I tap it, and you read what it says. It says you tap it, you put a 2/2 green and white creature into play. Okay, so you tap it and you put it into play. You can do that during the end phase. It's called a trigger effect. Because anything that you can tap something. If it has a tap symbol by it, you can tap it anytime you want, except your upkeep phase. So if it has a little tap symbol by it and it's a creature or a card, you can do that whenever the hell you want, except your upkeep phase, I believe. I believe that. I think that is correct.
that's all the phases. That is all the phases of the combat. That's all the parts of a turn. You got the beginning phase, where you can put in where you have to do the untap, upkeep, draw. The first main phase where you play spells. Combat phases where you attack, and then they have a blocking phase where they can say, I'm blocking with this, and then combat damage is dealt either to A, player, or B, creature if they decide to block. And then the end of combat where you can play, your instances, because instances can be played at any time except during your untap phase. And so can special effects like this card where you just tap it and you do what the card says. Is during your inning phase. But now that I've went over the phases, I've put probably a lot to process. This game's a bitch to learn if you've never played it before. But if you have any questions on what you see here and you're just confused out of the water, just give me a PM and I will answer you as best as I can to kind of clarify what I'm saying if you are confused. But I'm going to end it here for now, and I will make more videos and explain more about this great game of Magic the Gathering, because there's so much more. I just went over just the very, very basics of a turn. So if you have any questions, just drop them in. This has been Thomas Stout 25, and I'll see you later.